Hello. So I am intending to do a slightly different sort of video in that it's intended that these videos will fit into any kind of short time slot that you've got. I know that when I was a new mom and when my kids were little, finding time to art would have been really difficult. I actually wasn't painting very much then because I didn't have time and I didn't have space. I did a lot of scrapbooking that I could pick up and put down or prepare things for, and so the intention for these videos is that if you want to incorporate mindful watercolours into your day or every few days or your week and you've got a limited amount of time, this is a great place to go to. They're also a great way to build skill and technique, to get to know what we're doing, and they are fun. The three core principles of mindfulness that I use in my approach are to be present, to focus on being present with what we're doing, to approach it with curiosity and a sense of fun, being interested in what we're doing and curious about what we're doing, and not really focused on an end product, and to be discerning. And when we're discerning, we are discerning, we say what we like and what we don't like, but that's not a judgment about ourselves or how good or bad we are at art. So with each of those three things, you're not expected, I don't expect myself to be perfect with all of them. They're a little bit like a muscle that we exercise. And so when we find ourselves moving away from being present, or moving away from being discerning, or moving away from being curious and interested and kind of really focused on, oh, but it's got to look just right, then we just take a breath. We gently remind ourselves of our intention and bring ourselves back to that. But we do it in a way that is gentle and non-judgmental. That's really important, because what we're doing is building a kind of mindfulness muscle. And the more you do it, the more you practice it, the more you gently bring yourself back over time, honestly, the easier it becomes. So that's the kind of focus and the purpose of these videos. For all of them, I'm going to have a timer that I'm going to set for 5 minutes once I'm ready to start painting. I will get all of my resources ready each time, and they will include the little mindful moment notebook that I'm working in, a set of paints, maybe a different set of paints, but any set of paints. It really doesn't matter what colours or even what paints. I'm using a range of professional watercolours across different brands, but you could just as easily do it with a school set. Your results might look different, so the end products might be different, but the benefits you get from the process will be just the same. I've got a pot here, you can just about see it, that has got some plain water in. Lots of people have two pots for water, one for cool colours, one for warm colours, or one for rinsing your brush and one for wetting paints to keep the colours clean. These are all fantastic things, and if you can do those, absolutely do them. I forget, so I just change my water regularly. I've got the brushes out that I want to work with for this session, a mixing palette, I use a ceramic one, I've got a tissue, and my things sit on a tea towel, so that if I need to dry water off my brush, I just do it straight onto the tea towel. That's what works best for me. So before you begin your 5 minutes of mindful watercolours, you need to have these things together. If you're in limited space, a really good solution can be to put these onto a tray that can go on a bookshelf, so you can just lift the tray off. You can even work on the tray and do it like that. Another solution can be that you could utilise things like these water brushes, so you don't need separate brushes. You can have a much smaller pot of water if you want, and you can even do without the pot of water and just mix it with some water on your palette by squeezing them out. Just have to make sure you fill them up after each session. So spend a little bit of time, maybe 5 minutes, considering how you can organise your resources so they are ready for you in one place, so when you get 5 minutes you can pick it up and go. That there's no sorting out, there's no gathering, that it's all there for you. Hello. So we've got all of our resources set up, and I have got some brushes here that I'm going to use. I've got some rounds in a 0, a 2, a 4 and a 6. Excuse that noise, Watson is getting resettled on the floor by my feet. There we go. And I've got these long rounds in a 2, a 4 and a 6. And I'm going to be playing with what we create today to see how these brushes feel the same or different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the same size in both brush. Now, you may not have a massive selection of brushes, and you could just choose any 2 brushes that you want to compare. And what we are going to do today is to paint some filled in circles, and we're going to probably let them connect. Now I may work across both pages, I may just work on one. I'm going to pick up the colours I feel drawn to today, and I'm going to go for this blue, which I really like. It's kind of almost turquoisey, and I can tell you that it is DS Phthalo Blue Turquoise, which is why it's turquoisey. And then I'm going to go for a colour that maybe I haven't mixed with that before. Let's try that. I don't think I've ever mixed those 2 colours. What's that one? Number 51. DS Garnet. So this will almost certainly granulate. So it's a bit like Indian red actually. We'll see what these 2 colours will do together. So my intention is I'm just focusing on those 3 core principles: to be present, to approach it with a sense of curiosity, both about how the brushes feel, how the colours mix and mingle, how big or small the sizes are on the page, just lots of what ifs and questions, and with discernment, not judgment. So I'm going to be exercising those mindfulness muscles, and if I find that I am moving away from being present, I'm just going to gently, without any judgment, remind myself I want to stay focused on this right now, acknowledge the other thought, bring myself back to this. If I find myself getting wrapped up in what it's going to look like at the end, I'm going to remind myself that this is about the process for me and the doing of it. And that I just want to explore with curiosity. That's what this sketchbook is for. No pressure, no focus on the end result, just to be mindful, to have some fun, to explore. And I'm going to be discerning. I want to try and see, what do I like, what do I not like so much, how can I move towards what I like. So I'm going to get my timer ready, and I'm going to turn the sound off, or have a gentle sound, I think, because yeah, that sounds good. That's better than the one that made me jump. So I've got my timer, it's just off camera here, and I'll start it in just 1 second. So we're basically going to paint circles. So I'll pick up one colour, and you can see I'm going to play with where I hold my brush. They don't want to be perfect circles, I might fill them in like that. And then while it's still wet, I might get the other colour and just let it join. And then I'm going to do that, and I can make it watery by adding more water. I can also just go and pick up water like this. So I've got water on my brush and make this really quite watery. And then I can just grab the next colour. I can make that watery as well if I want to. I can strip in from the sides, and they don't have to be different colours. They can be the same colour. They don't have to be entirely filled in if I don't want to. They can be more oval than circle. I'm just going to explore making those shapes, and you'll see me swap brush. I'm just going to see how the other one feels. So let's get going. I'll start the timer. We'll have our 5 minutes of being mindful together. as you can tell, I really didn't want to stop. I really enjoyed that. I love this kind of neutral, almost purpley grey that these two make. That's a fantastic discovery. I really like the irregular shapes, almost like the triangular shapes that are rounded. I really like those. I found these are hard for me to leave alone, but it's interesting to see what happens in them and how quickly they dry and how much they spread. I liked varying the sizes, and it was really fun working across both pages. I found that I probably had more control over the shape even with holding all the way up here with this round compared to the long round where I had a lot less control. And it would be interesting to go back and do that again and use just the long round to see how that felt. And it would be really interesting as well to see if with a bigger brush that held more water but still working with circles the same size, if you got more bleeding and spreading and how that affected things. So a really fantastic exploration. I enjoyed that. I hope you did too. See you again at the painting table soon.